So I know a lot of these news videos that I've been doing lately have been focused on New Hampshire hiking news and things going on in the New Hampshire hiking community. But today we're going back to my other favorite topic that I like to talk about, and that is the Appalachian Trail, because I have some news, some updates, some Appalachian Trail related things that I want to discuss. I'll put some of the topics up on the screen so you can kind of get an idea of what we're getting into today. So I'm excited to talk about the Appalachian Trail today, and I'm sure you guys are excited to hear some things going on in that community too. I didn't realize this, but the Appalachian Trail Conservancy turns 100 years old. They began in 1925. And I didn't realize it was the 100-year anniversary until I saw them announce this year's hiker hang tags. And it was always kind of like an exciting thing when they announce the New Year's hang tags because they're always a different color. This year, the color is like a forest green. And on the hang tag, there is a 100 to celebrate the 100-year anniversary. So I thought that was pretty cool. Almost makes me want to do a section of the AT this year just so I can add that hang tag to my little collection, because I have 3 of them from 2020, 2021, and 2023 hanging up in my gear room. You'll also see that the ATC kind of switched up their logo also to celebrate this 100-year anniversary. I'll put the old logo on the screen and the new one so you can kind of see the difference. Inside the logo, there's the AT symbol, protected ecosystem, growth and biodiversity, mountain peak, and a spade shovel. So each thing stands for something different. Now the big news that I feel like we need to discuss about the Appalachian Trail, about the Forest Service, about the national parks is the mass layoffs that are happening right now. Now there's articles that you can read about it. I'm not going to go into every single detail, but I will go over some of the major points about this and the things that are going to be affected because of this mass layoff situation. The ATC is expecting this to directly affect the Appalachian Trail and the quality of the hiking experience and the safety of the millions of people who come to the Appalachian Trail to hike every single year. The teams were understaffed to begin with, but I believe this is going to be another 10 to 15% reduction in the amount of staff that they have. Things that will be affected and delayed because of this are shelter repairs after Hurricane Helene, bridge replacements, privy upgrades, invasive species removal, and natural resource restoration, just to name a couple things that I read about. And if you do want to help with what's going on, the ATC did give a couple of recommendations of things we can do to volunteer, to donate, to contact people. I'll try to put some information in the description so you can read more about these mass layoffs in the Forest Service and the National Park if you want to deep dive into it a little more yourself. But that's just kind of the gist of it. And how it will directly impact the Appalachian Trail. So in other Appalachian Trail news, it's now towards the end of February, and this is kind of the time where a lot of thru hikers are starting their thru hikes in Georgia of the AT. And this is kind of the time where I started. I started late February, early March for my thru hikes. And it's exciting. I am honestly a little jealous. I wish I was down there, but I have a lot of things going on at the moment. But is the Appalachian Trail open or hikeable for these thru hikers? I was reading a little bit about the trail conditions. The last update that I saw, official update that I saw, was February 12th. The Chestoa Bridge over the Nollichucky River is still closed. That's going to take a while to replace, but there is a 3.6-mile road walk. It is said that hikers should use caution while walking down these roads, but that's pretty much the case for any road walking on the AT. There is a few spots here and there where that's necessary. I saw a comment, I think on Far Out, about how there is talks of a ferry service that will go across the river, similar to kind of like the ferry service that goes across the Kennebec River in Maine. I don't know how true that is or if that's actually in the works, but I think that could be a lot more fun than doing the 3.5-mile road walk. I'm pretty sure hikers would appreciate that. And then I believe the rest of the trail is pretty much open. I read about like a 22-mile stretch of trail that the ATC was saying that hikers should go around, but I was deep diving into the Far Out app and I didn't see anything too much of concern. If you are through hiking this year, I highly recommend downloading the Far Out app so you can see the alerts, so you can see the comments of hikers that are in front of you, or you can leave comments to help the hikers behind you and just give everyone current updates on the AT conditions, any blowdowns, any shelters that are closed. I believe there are still a couple damaged shelters that you probably shouldn't stay at that were damaged because of the hurricane, so keep that in mind. So when you think of hydrating, you probably think of drinking a lot of water, but hydration is actually about getting the right electrolyte balance. I use Element's electrolyte drink mixes to keep me hydrated, and I can really feel a difference. During the day, my energy is up, I'm focused. At night, I'm sleeping better. And then on my hikes, I'm getting a lot less fatigued, a lot less headaches, and less muscle cramps. Element has a science-backed electrolyte formula to keep you hydrated. It's got the right amount of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, and it doesn't have any sugar. That's the best part. There's so many drinks on the market that are full of sugar, so I'm really happy that Element doesn't have any. If you want to try Element and all of their amazing flavors of these electrolyte drink mixes, head to my link, which is drinkelement.com/Nahamsha, and when you place an order using that link, you'll get a sample pack thrown in with your order completely free of 8 different flavors of Element to try. Again, that link is drinklmnt.com/Nahamsha for the best electrolyte drink mixes. Now we're going to talk a little bit about hikers who are vlogging their hikes on the Appalachian Trail this year. I get a lot of people who ask me for vlogging recommendations so they can follow along people's journeys as they thru hike this year. I personally kind of stopped watching Appalachian Trail vloggers since I thru hiked. I used to be so interested, so dedicated to following vloggers on the Appalachian Trail, but I was mostly doing that to prepare for the trail myself, so I can get an idea of what the trail looked like, what gear was using, what gear they were using, and just how the whole Appalachian Trail worked. I did it kind of for educational purposes because I knew I wanted to thru hike, so I watched as much Appalachian Trail content as I could. But now since I've done it, I don't really feel like I need to learn more about the AT because I have a lot of experience on it and I have a good idea of what it's like. But every now and then I see people on YouTube who I find really interesting, and I do want to kind of keep along and follow them, get updates every now and then, but it's not anything I watch every day now. But I did spend a lot of time on YouTube yesterday, and I was looking at some people, and there are people out on the trail already. So I do have some recommendations, a couple people that I know personally, a couple people that I've watched in the past who are hiking again. The first hiker who's vlogging their hike that I'm going to talk about is Big Willie Dog. I have personally not watched his videos, but I have met him in real life, and he's a great guy. He thru hiked in 2023. The same year I did. We actually met up at a couple different trail magics. We saw each other in town a couple times, passed each other on the trail, so I got to know him. He's out doing the trail a second time and vlogging it, so that's really exciting. Wildflower Adventures might be a YouTube channel that you're already familiar with. It's a mom and daughter. I believe they hiked a huge section of the AT last year in a thru hike attempt, but got off to spend some time with their family. But they are out there again this year, starting at Springer Mountain again and hiking north to Katahdin and vlogging their whole experience. Of course, I'm very interested in mother-daughter content because I would love that to be me in a few years. Like, that's a dream if I was able to thru hike with my daughter. So I do enjoy really following along with them and watching their videos. They are actually hiking this year to raise money and raise awareness for everyone affected from the hurricane and to rebuild Appalachia. I will link their information, their channel. I'll link everyone's channels in the description. It looks like they have a goal of raising $7,000 for healing for Appalachia, and they're over halfway there. So if you're interested in following along their journey, if you're interested in donating for their cause, that's in the description. Another family on the Appalachian Trail this year vlogging their experience is Six Pack Hikers. It's mom, dad, and 4 kids. And I actually connected with them a little bit. They expressed interest in wanting to be on my YouTube channel. I knew I threw that out there and they emailed me. So when they get through New Hampshire, I'm going to do a little trail magic for them and maybe do a little interview so you get to meet them on my channel. But if you want to see them in the meantime, they have their own channel, Six Pack Hikers, and I think they're starting very soon. When I made my kind of like 5 tips for vloggers video, I mentioned in it if anyone is through hiking the trail this year and they are vlogging and they want a little shout out on my channel to let me know. So I have a handful of more vloggers that you can follow. I will list them real quick. We have Sailing Avmar, Adventures of the Soul, Boundless Wander, Megan's Adventure Outdoors, Canadian Bacon, Razzle Outdoors, Katie Hikes, The Money Shot, and Lieutenant Hikes, who I actually met on Mount Greylock during my through hike attempt. Also, going back to Wildflower Adventures, they put out a video where they went over like all of the vloggers who are going to be on the AT this year. So you can also reference that video and kind of meet the whole class of 2025 there. So that's a ton of Appalachian Trail vloggers if you're interested in that content. Again, I wish I was out there vlogging it myself, but I cannot. Hopefully again in the future. If you are interested in Pacific Crest Trail content, if you want a PCT vlogger to follow, Liz Handstands Kidders from New Hampshire. I met her down at Trail Days. She is an Appalachian Trail through hiker. She through hiked in 2018. She is headed off to the PCT to through hike and vlog, and she makes really good videos. So if you are interested in that, PCT vlogger Liz Handstands Kidder. So that was a ton of Appalachian Trail things. Like I said, the Appalachian Trail is one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I feel like I haven't done that in a while, so that felt nice. Also on Instagram, I saw 2 huge announcements the other day. I don't know if they're huge, but I thought they were really exciting. The first is Tara Candy Mama Dower. You might know her from setting the record on the Appalachian Trail, hiking it in like 41 days, something like that, from Maine to Georgia. She demolished the record, even the men's record, which is so inspiring, so amazing. I met her in 2020 when I stayed at a hostel that she was caretaking. I met her again at Trail Days last year. Incredible. She just announced a podcast that she is co-hosting with her friend Arlie. It's called DNF Diaries. DNF stands for Did Not Finish. So she's going to be telling stories and I think having interviews of people who did not finish either their through hike or she's really into the ultra marathon world. So people who didn't finish their ultra races, their marathons, their hikes. I think that's such an amazing thing to talk about and to normalize is not finishing things because it happens. And I like to share my experience of not finishing things because it's normal, things happen. So I just listened to her first episode of the podcast when she DNF'd her, what's it called? The Javelina 100. It was a 100-mile race. She got attacked by a cactus. It was such an interesting story. So that is a podcast that I'm going to be listening to now. And that I find really interesting. Oh, my mom just pulled in. I'm at work right now. We open in 19 minutes. Another big thing in the hiking community world is if you know Miranda Goes Outside.
This is my show, gosh darn.
She's a hiker, YouTuber. She's an amazing person. I would love to meet her one day. She just came out with a water bottle in collaboration with Mazama. And this water bottle is kind of like a better alternative to using smart water bottles on the trail. She said that she was frustrated with the disposable water bottles and she just wanted to make something that was better, reusable, easier to clean. So she came out with this design. The pre-orders opened up a couple days ago. I ordered one for myself. I think the pre-orders are sold out, but she did say she was gonna release more in the future, but it seems like an amazing water bottle. It seems like she's been working really hard on this and just making it perfect. So I'm really happy to order one and support her and use it out on trails and also hopefully sell it in Nahamsha gifts. I made a comment on her Instagram. I was like, I want to sell this. And she's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So I will also link this water bottle in the description so that maybe you can follow along and be notified when they do come back in stock. But it's cool. There's nothing really like this on the market. So she found a need and she did the work and she created this, and I think that's awesome. I was actually about to say that I didn't have any search and rescue stories for this video, but I just went on the website to just double check and something came in a couple minutes ago. So I guess I will share a quick New Hampshire hiking search and rescue story to end this video. Let me just read it first myself. Oh no. Interesting. I am home now because I didn't have enough time at work to go over this search and rescue story, but I will share the search and rescue story that happened yesterday, February 20th, on Mount Moosilauke. There were two teenage boys. They were 17 and 18 years old. They started their hike at 1 p.m. and they were planning to do a 7-mile loop on Mount Moosilauke. They ended up calling for help because they needed assistance. They were dealing with waist-deep snow and they were also having a hard time navigating the trail. These boys also did not pack snowshoes or a headlamp, so they contacted emergency services. Their first phone call to them actually dropped because their phone ended up dying. It was out of battery. So these boys went through their pack. They ended up finding an external battery and they were able to get a little more charge on their phone and actually use it to contact them. They were able to use it for navigation and a light source. So they got it working enough that they were actually able to self-rescue. Conservation officers did respond to this call. They ended up meeting the boys at the ravine lodge, so the boys ended up making their way off the mountain. They were able to find a more packed down trail and self-rescue, but officers said that this whole thing could have been prevented if they had snowshoes, if they had a headlamp, and honestly, they probably should have started their hike a lot earlier than 1 p.m. They did have gear that was able to keep them warm, but the snowshoes and the headlamp were definitely essential for a hike like this. If you don't know, Mount Moosilauke is very exposed. It's above tree line, and with the wind we've been experiencing recently, I can imagine those snow drifts up there are really deep. So that's gonna do it for this video. A little bit of everything, a little bit of updates, AT news, search and rescue stories with a little lesson at the end. So thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.